I'm not normally one to complain about people breaking COVID rules, but our Prime Minister spent many, many months bringing down Boris Johnson over Partygate, and it's only fair now that Sir Keir Starmer faces the same scrutiny. As Guido Fawkes reports today, there are at least a few problems with this. On Christmas Eve in 2020, the UK was in a tiered system of regional COVID lockdowns. At that time, Labour HQ was located in Southside, Victoria Street, central London. In Tier 4, the government imposed restrictions, including, quote, everyone must work from home unless they are unable to do so. Guido went on, even if you concede Starmer's voice coach couldn't have worked from home, this would be inconsistent with an account from a previous training session recounted in a book that Mellinger joined a voice training session by phone in April 2020. So they had previously worked remotely. Actress in question, Leonie Mellinger, who was previously pictured at Labour HQ. Today, she's been proudly retweeting the Sunday Times piece that credited her with allegedly improving Starmer's public performances. This apparent rule breach from Sir Keir Starmer came during a much more serious time of COVID than his Beergate drama in Durham. Do you remember that? Where he and Labour colleagues, including Angela Rayner, gathered for lagers and curries. Remember this? There he was, the leader of the opposition at the time, swigging from a bottle, raising concerns that he wasn't working at all. He was actually eventually given the all clear by Durham police for that meeting. He got away with it. But all of this matters because Keir Starmer was the first person during COVID to demand the government went harder and faster with draconian rules. And he proudly boasted how we should all stick together and stick to them, regardless of how insane they were.
You cannot be a lawmaker and a lawbreaker. And it's time to pack his bags.
This video was released by the Labour Party on the 24th of December 2020. Some questions need answering. Was this video recorded on the 24th of December 2020? And if so, was your voice coach Leonie Mellinger present at the time?
I want to wish you all a very happy Christmas. It's a time to celebrate and come together with our family and friends. It's a time for Christians in Britain and across the world to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ. The values of Christianity, of generosity, of kindness and hope have shone through this year. In every village, every town and every city, we've seen the very best of Britain. The key workers who've been our country's rock, the servicemen and servicewomen who've stepped up, and the incredible scientists who discovered a vaccine. I know it hasn't been easy. I know for many of our key workers, they will have to step up again one more time this Christmas, as will our armed forces who've been deployed here and across the seas. To all of you, a heartfelt thank you.
Sir Keir Starmer is once again embroiled in a damaging scandal, this time over allegations that he broke stringent COVID lockdown rules in December 2020 while secretly working with a vocal coach at Labour headquarters. The revelations, uncovered in a new book about Starmer's tenure as Labour leader, expose yet another instance of the hypocrisy and double standards that have come to define his political career. The book details how actress and communications coach Leonie Mellinger was deemed so critical to Starmer's ambitions that she was reportedly classified as a key worker and granted access to Labour UK at the height of Tier 4 restrictions. According to the account, Mellinger was brought in to refine Starmer's speeches and delivery as he prepared to respond to Boris Johnson's Brexit deal. However, London's lockdown measures at the time explicitly required non-essential workers to stay at home, making Starmer's decision to host an in-person coaching session not only ethically questionable, but potentially unlawful. The Guido Fawkes website was the first to raise concerns about the legality of this visit, pointing out that the government's official list of essential workers did not include political vocal coaches. The Conservatives have since seized on the revelation, with Shadow Paymaster General Richard Holden demanding an independent investigation into the Labour leader's actions. In a scathing letter to Starmer, Mr. Holden underscored the Labour leader's past claims of rigid adherence to COVID regulations. This latest revelation proves this not to be the case, and you have serious questions to answer, he wrote. He went on to remind Starmer that breaching Tier 4 restrictions was not merely a lapse in judgment, but a violation of the law carrying the risk of a fixed penalty notice. This latest scandal lays bare the glaring contradiction in Starmer's posturing as a paragon of integrity throughout the pandemic. He spent months berating Boris Johnson over Partygate and pushed for the Prime Minister's resignation when the Met Police issued fines over lockdown gatherings. Yet, here stands Starmer, accused of flouting the very same rules he so vocally insisted should be upheld. This is not the first time the Labour leader has found himself at the centre of such allegations. The Beergate row in 2022 saw him investigated by Durham police for drinking beer with Labour campaigners under questionable legal circumstances. While he ultimately avoided penalty, the controversy underscored his willingness to bend the rules to suit his own interests. Now, as the evidence piles up, Starmer faces mounting pressure to explain why he believes the rules did not apply to him when so many Britons made painful sacrifices. Families spent Christmas alone, frontline workers risked their health, and countless businesses were shuttered. Yet, for Starmer, securing a more polished public persona appears to have taken precedence over public health measures. The Labour leader's credibility is crumbling under the weight of his own hypocrisy. If he truly believes in honour, integrity, and the principle that those who make the laws must follow them, as he so sanctimoniously claimed, he should subject himself to the same scrutiny he demanded of others. The public deserves answers. More importantly, it deserves leaders who practice what they preach. We'll come to another development when Nick Tenconi marched with tens of thousands of people in London.
We're taking our country back, and we're taking it back from the traitors in that building there. Under a UKIP government, we will detain and deport all illegal invaders, and we will begin the process of remigration and hand justice back to the British people, because enough is enough. It's time to rid that building of traitors and the liberal elite who despise the ordinary hard-working man. We're taking our country back, ladies and gentlemen. Free our political prisoners and free Tommy Robinson.
Nick Marcel Tenconi has made a defiant stand, joining tens of thousands of demonstrators in London to demand the release of what he calls political prisoners. The march, a dramatic display of patriotic fervor, saw protesters rallying against what they perceive as an erosion of justice and freedom in the UK. With banners flying high and chants echoing through the capital, the message was clear: they will not be silenced. Tenconi, a vocal advocate for nationalist causes, framed the protest as a pivotal moment in Britain's political landscape. He declared that the country is at a crossroads, where fundamental liberties are under threat from an overreaching state and a complicit political establishment. We are taking our country back, he proclaimed, tapping into the simmering discontent among sections of the electorate who feel ignored and betrayed by those in power. The march, however, has sparked controversy, with critics dismissing the movement as a thinly veiled attempt to rewrite the narratives around law enforcement and accountability. Detractors argue that the so-called political prisoners are individuals who have been lawfully prosecuted and that the protest represents an effort to undermine the rule of law. Nonetheless, for Tenconi and his supporters, this is a fight for justice, not just for those behind bars, but for the very soul of the nation. As Britain grapples with deepening political divisions, today's demonstration signals that the battle over identity, sovereignty, and justice is far from over. Whether this movement gains further traction or fades into the background remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: Nick Marcel Tenconi and his fellow protesters have no intention of backing down. Thanks for watching. Be sure to drop a comment below, and subscribe to stay updated. Join the conversation and connect with us on Telegram. Don't miss out on the movement.